Good afternoon and welcome to the People's Voice on VOP TV, where we amplify the concerns, stories, perspectives, and voices of the Nigerian citizens, you and I. I am Adefunke Ajaisimi, and today we are dissecting the recent development that sent shockwaves through the Nigerian political landscape. The suspended governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, has publicly commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, singing his praises for his timely intervention in the Rivers State crisis. This move has sparked a flurry of reactions from people, both supporters and investors. As a matter of fact, more investors across social media platforms who were solidly behind the moves of the governor at the time. It was having a very tough one with his predecessor, Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, with some of the critics labeling it as a sign of weakness, while others see it as a strategic maneuver. As we analyze this development, we would explore the implications of Fubara's commendation and the praise singing of the president. We'll also talk about the ongoing crisis in Rivers State following the declaration of the state of emergency, which many have termed illegal and disrespectful, with governors of the People's Democratic Party actually suing at the time. We'll look at the broader context of President Tinubu's midterm record, including the praise he's received from other governors, stakeholders, and supporters of the All Progressives Congress. And some of the governors, we have the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Umar Eno, who has called on citizens to be cautious with their criticism. However, on the part of opposition, they've been quite vocal in recent time, labeling the administration as a failure. We'll delve into the specific cases dissatisfied citizens are raising, including concerns about the economic hardship, insecurity, and governance. As much as this administration has spread out all of its achievements in 2 months, with the president's confidence saying that this is the time for him to boast. I mean, there's so much to be thankful for. There's so much to appraise him for on his part. But for the common man, it's about how all of these successes will get to the lowest point where every citizen can actually access and benefit from the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the dividend of democracy, like they say. So our discussion today, we touch on potential recommendations for the 2 years of President Tinubu's administration. Can this administration address the pressing issues facing Nigerians? What steps can be taken to improve governance and accountability? And accountability is very important in this context, because a lot of people are saying that if all of the things being highlighted so far are actually the reality of Nigerians, then how then, at what point did the bridge collapse? Maybe something is coming from the presidency to the state level, maybe to the local government, but not getting to the people. So at what point exactly did we lost it? At what point exactly is transparency a scarce commodity? Stay with us on the show today as we dissect these complex issues and explore the way forward. We urge you to please call in or text us on 090-447-32605 or engage us across all social media platforms using the hashtag People's Voice on VOP TV, and kindly hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We are Voice of the People TV. Your voices matters, and we are eager to hear your perspectives. It's time to go on a quick break. When we return, we'll dive deeper into these issues and more on People's Voice. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with the People's Voice on VOP TV. Today we are discussing the recent developments in Rivers State, particularly the governor, Siminalayi Fubara's recent speech on his supposed 2 years in office, where he emphasized the importance of peace and reconciliation. In his address, the suspended governor of Rivers State, Fubara, expressed appreciation to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his intervention in the state's crisis and assured that efforts are being made to reconcile with his predecessor, the former governor Nyesom Wike, who is now the minister of the FCT. He acknowledged the challenges and grievances faced by the people, but urged the people to please embrace forgiveness and unity for the state's progress. He also emphasized the need for the government to earn the respect of people, saying that the best way to go is to genuinely get the people's respect rather than forcing it. Fubara's speech also highlights his efforts to rebuild and move forward after the crisis. For many, it's about the lessons learned, and a lot of people feel that it's been a long time, enough time to look within, search within himself, and reconsider some of these decisions. And for us, we are happy for this. Well, for some supporters who are disappointed, we sincerely hope that you can understand the position of the governor right now. And of course, his appreciation to President Tinubu has also raised concern, because this appreciation for Tinubu's intervention is notable and has sparked a lot of reaction, both positive and negative. The governor also expressed optimism about reconciliation with the former governor Nyesom Wike, indicating ongoing efforts to resolve differences. We'll dive deeper into the implications of Fubara's speech, what led to the speech, to what end, what exactly is it trying to achieve, and the ongoing efforts to restore peace and stability in Rivers State. For him, for a genuine leader, as some will say, it is important to put the people first. So, is this more of a political strategy, or is it about the people of Rivers State? Joining me this afternoon to discuss this is Mr. Nelson Ekujimi, who will provide valuable insights into the political landscape of Rivers State and the potential way forward. Good afternoon, Mr. Nelson.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Many
Good
thanks.
afternoon, viewers.
Many thanks for joining the show. Let's start with Governor Fubara's intention. What do you make of Governor Fubara's recent praises of President Tinubu for his intervention in Rivers State crisis?
Well, thank you very much once again. When the news broke about the statement from suspended Governor Fubara, I was shocked, because looking at how suspended Governor Fubara conducted himself while he was in office as governor in Rivers State, you agree with me that his conduct was more like a tyrant, was more like a dictator. And just like the Supreme Court rules, he behaved like a despot. This was a man, because he had trouble or he had quarrel with the House of Assembly, embarked on the demolition of the House of Assembly. And he even had the temerity to tell Nigerians that the legislature exists only at his own whims and caprices. And for a lot of us, we were aghast that how can somebody who is entrusted with public trust, who is sitting on the exalted seat of a governor, be speaking like somebody at the bus stop? Because we expected that as a governor, he should know the provisions of the Constitution that gives him the power as the executive governor. And he should recognize that in a democracy, we have three arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And all arms are independent, but they work coordinately. But in this case, we saw a Governor Fubara demolish the House of Assembly, ensure that the legislature was non-existent, and he was ruling the state illegally and unconstitutionally with a three-member similar Fubara House of Assembly. Because under the Nigerian Constitution, for a House of Assembly to sit, 2/3 of the members must be present. And Rivers State House of Assembly is peopled by 32 members. And if any governor wants to convoke a sitting of the House or wants to have an interaction with the House,
right,
2/3 of that 32 must be present. But we saw Fubara, who was boasting and behaving like the Lord of the Manor, that nothing can happen. He went to the Federal High Court. The Federal High Court told him that he was in violation of the law, that as far as the court was concerned, that no government existed in Rivers State. He didn't, give a damn. He continued and he approached the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal also gave same judgment, that you are in breach of the Constitution with your conduct as a governor. And lo and behold, he went to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court was the final nail on his coffin.
Right.
And the Supreme Court said, as far as the Supreme Court was concerned, there was no government in Rivers State, except we are operating a monarchy, because Governor Fubara was elected by the people of Rivers State. And in being elected, he must obey and observe the provisions of the Constitution. But he did otherwise. And when he threatened national security, and it was staring everybody in the face, Mr. President, in line with the constitutional provisions, waded in by, announcing his suspension via a declaration of emergency.
State of emergency. So, let me come in there, yes. Mr. Nelson. It feels like from your analysis, it's about the governor having exhausted every means possible to be able to justify his actions. So, do you believe that the Governor Fubara, his recent call for peace and reconciliation is a genuine one? Or do you see it as a strategic move to achieve specific goals?
Well, I'm sorry, I cannot read people's minds. But if I, as a Nigerian, looking at his trajectory, even though he's trying to, display the olive branch, I'll be very wary. Because the way he behaved until the state of emergency was declared was despicable, was tyrannical, was unconstitutional. And as a person, even as a journalist and a public affairs analyst, I was asking on several programs, is this how we watch suspended Governor Fubara right from short over our democracy and constitution? Who will stop him? I never knew he would go to a stage where he will say, I have told the boys to calm down, at the appropriate time we will strike. And before we could say Jack Robinson, they started blowing oil pipelines.
Do you think it was just about him? Do you think, Mr. Nelson, you're talking more about his actions and inactions, but was it really just about him? Was there a cause that must have instigated or led him to the point where he became so furious that he couldn't hold back? And I mean, maybe anger took over his personality, because we knew that there was a political turmoil in the state and it was a big crisis within the People's Democratic Party, talking about the leadership in the state, and the Minister of FCT claiming that there was a structure that was built in Rivers State which the suspended Governor Fubara refused to work with. So don't you think that there was a bit of reason for him to have become who he became, even though there was no justification for destroying the government properties?
There's no justification, there's no reason that will suffice for an elected or appointed public office holder who are sworn on oaths to uphold the Constitution to violate it. There's no reason under the sun. So it shows you clearly that those actions he took expose his immaturity and unpreparedness for the office. Because as a leader, I'm a Yoruba man, you are speaking to me. In Yoruba parlance, we say Adamangbani. As a leader, you take all sorts of attack, abuse, insult, whatever, everything will be thrown at you. But as a leader, you absorb it. You keep your head above water. That is the only way to lead, because you are the symbol of authority. So when the symbol of authority capitulates and does the illegal and unconstitutional, what do you tell the followers? How do we have a society governed by law and order? So it means, as a leader, if you are pushed to the wall, you won't mind throwing everybody into the ocean, that we should all perish. No. Even if the whole house is burning, as a leader, you continue to look for ways to rescue those you can rescue and those you can save. So nothing under the sun can justify his illegality and unconstitutional conduct as governor when he was in office. Okay. But be that as it may, I want to assume or believe maybe the last few days out of office has shown to him, has made him sober, that look, power is transient. Because he was boasting, they can't take this green barrier away from me. But when you continue to, violate the Constitution, they are enforcers of the law. If the Supreme Court has given a judgment and you don't obey that judgment, and you continue to grandstand. You went to the House of Assembly, they locked the gate. Abba, as a governor, before you even leave, before you even go to the House of Assembly, it's a different arm of government entirely.
Right.
They are not your appointees. You send them communication, and you must wait for them to say, okay, come, we are expecting you. Then even before you leave the office, you send the advance thing. But what did we see? We saw a governor dramatizing they have locked the gates, then you went back. They didn't allow me.
You know,
how can you just badge them? You have destroyed the House of Assembly complex. You want to go and meet them in their private homes. Is that how to conduct government business? Is government business conducted in private quarters?
Definitely no, but not to make any excuses for the governor. There were reports of the governor, that arm of government at the time, doing everything possible to frustrate access to the governor at the time, and we all know what was happening. It was about the governor at the verge of being impeached. I mean, it might be at a point where it was not certain what the outcome might be, and he might just want to fight for his office. But let's talk about the end game for the people of Rivers State, because whatever is happening within the political class, I would agree with those that say that it's all about interest for politicians. So let's come down to the people of Rivers State who elected the governor and who the governor is supposed to serve. Even though there are some of his followers, supporters, and even critics that have said that his new style of praising the president, this new style of being here and there, tilting towards the leadership of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whom a lot of people, even members of his party, had gone to court to say that statement, that state of emergency was an illegality. Do you think that there is a potential benefit or dividend in all of this for the people of Rivers State? And do you think that this reconciliation efforts between Governor Fubara and the former Governor Wike would bring good to the people of Rivers State?
Absolutely. There is no differences that cannot be reconciled. And if you look at Rivers State since the suspension of Governor Fubara, you see that peace has relatively returned to the states. Governance is going on because from October 2023 till, was it April or March that he was suspended? Governance was at a standstill. Nobody knew what would happen the next day. So if Fubara, because some of us warned, Nelson Ekuju, I warned. I said, when the history of Rivers State is written, what the 6 months they declared the state of emergency based on provisions of the Constitution and with the ratification of the National Assembly. Those who have said it's an illegality, they are only voicing their opinion. If you are aggrieved about any matter in Nigeria, the courts are there for you to challenge. We have seen situations where even you recollect President Muhammadu Buhari on the local government autonomy issue, right, where he used an executive fiat, and some people challenged it in court, and the court declared President Buhari's action of executive fiat to declare autonomy for local government, declared it illegal, and that was how the autonomy then died. But the new president told the line of another line to the court to get that autonomy. So you are saying the president has acted illegally. It's an opinion. But for those of us who have watched the situation in Rivers State and who know the provisions of law, can confidently tell you that Mr. President was in order. And Mr. Fubara's statement has only gone to justify that. Maybe Mr. Fubara has atoned for those things where he was. Maybe he was pushed. I wouldn't know, because I don't expect anybody to push him, because as the chief executive officer of the state, as the #1 citizen in Rivers State, I expect him, to be matured, to be responsible, to be civil, to recognize the enormity of the responsibility on his shoulder. But he did otherwise, and here we are. But if he says he's seeking a resolution or reconciliation with those who are aggrieved, that so that peace can return, all well and good. So long as what we are interested in is the peace, progress, and prosperity of the people of Rivers State as well as Nigerians in general.
Exactly.
We will not be delighted in chaos. I'm I'm not a fan of violence. I want peaceful resolution of the crisis, and I want human beings to cohabitate peacefully and brotherly. On that I stand.
All right, thank you very much for that response, and that's quite detailed, and even I like the fact that you're able to analyze what this means. But for the supporters or critics that are calling the governor weak, we sincerely hope they understand the gravity of what's on ground. I like the fact, I also like how you point out that whatever had happened in Rivers State would not be in any other person's name other than Fubara, because it's going to be said that it's the governor. And I remember he mentioned sometimes back that he is the one wearing the shoes, and he understands very well where the shoes hurt. So this might just be the right step good step in the right direction. But let's go to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's intervention, because yes, Fubara was seen singing the praises of the president. He said so much talk about how he did not even know how the president gets his information, but he sees a lot of wisdom in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which a lot of anti-Tinubu class have criticized, saying that this is just praise singing. Some are even saying that the governor might be manipulated into all of this new face we are seeing. But what role do you think that President Tinubu's intervention has played in facilitating the reconciliation efforts between Governor Fubara and the former governor, Nyesom Wike? And what do you think that can be done to also ensure that there is a fair landing and balance as to both parties? Because we know that both Fubara and Wike have their own team. So how much work needs to be done to ensure that there's a balance between both parties, and the people, the main people, the people of Rivers State at the end of the day have a state that they can be proud of, and this reconciliation yields better dividend to the people?
Well, Mr. President, if you remember, early in the life of the crisis, Mr. President intervenes, and Governor Fubara and his godfather, erstwhile governor and now the minister of the FCT, reached an agreement, only for Fubara to get back to Port Harcourt, and some persons told him that, who is Mr. President, how can he intervene? He doesn't have the right, don't listen to him. And Mr. Fubara listened to them, and the whole crisis, the whole issue became messy. And like I said earlier on, the onus is on Fubara. History beckons on him to right the wrongs. Because today, as we speak, the person whose name will be written in history as a governor who was suspended is Fubara. He's the one that will make peace. When President Bola Ahmed Tinubu intervened, they told him that his mouth was, oozing out bad odor. The president, kept away. And when constitutionally the window of intervention via the Supreme Court judgment opened up, because the governor refused and was playing games with the judgment of the Supreme Court, that he should go and represent the budget, that the state does not have an appropriation law in 2024 and 2025, which was a criminal offense. And the governor was playing games, and we were all watching him to say, okay, we'll see how it will end. And today, some persons are calling him all sorts of, well, he's the one who wears the shoe. He's the one on whose shoulder the buck stops. So to make reconciliation now, is the one in the center of the picture. Is the one that will reach out. Mr. President will only act based on available intelligence to him. We should remember that the state of emergency under law was made for 6 months initially.
Yeah.
That's what the Constitution says, and that was the proclamation of Mr. President that was sent to the National Assembly and was ratified. So if the authorities are convinced that the crisis has been addressed and that there can be peace, that 6 months proclamation was not cast in gold. It will be terminated in 3 months, it will be terminated in 4 months.
Right.
But the Constitution says minimum of 6 months. So if Mr. Fubara does the needful and is able to reconcile all aggrieved parties, and they want to ensure that democratic governance, which has been in abeyance for close to 2 years, almost 2 years, because Fubara was sworn in May 29, and by October, all hell had broken loose in about 5 months after his
5 months,
swearing in.
yeah.
Yeah, so if he's serious, if he's sincere and genuine about the interests of the river people, it will stoop low to conquer.
Okay, let me take you on from the Rivers people here. Let me take this last question for this segment. You have emphasized on how much importance it is for Fubara to take reconciliation serious at this time, and at the end of the day, how much impact it's going to have on his political history. But I want you to look beyond Fubara right now. I want you to talk about the impact of the impact of this reconciliation on the political landscape of Rivers State and the projection of the 2027 election. Do you think that all of the things happening at this time is a way for the federal government, the ruling party, APC, to woo Fubara to be able to work for the success of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election in the year 2027?
I don't know, and it is not impossible. If Fubara aligns with the ideology or maybe the tendency to align with the ruling party for 2027, that is within his purview. But I know for free that he's a free Nigerian citizen and he has a right to pitch his tent politically wherever he likes. And don't also forget that even if he pitches wherever he pitches his tent, he cannot control the mindset of the people of Rivers State. The people of Rivers State have to be convinced by the political parties, tendency, ideology, and maybe, romance, let me use that word, to pitch their tent wherever they want. And if Fubara comes to the ruling party, well, I don't know how it will pan out with his party, but I know they will be very displeased, while the ruling party at the center will be very happy for it. But be that as it may, the first responsibility, the first concern for me is to ensure the return of democratic governance to Rivers State.
Yeah.
Yes, that is very, very key. Because, like I said earlier on, people can call Fubara all names, but history beckons on him. Today, we cannot conduct any election in Rivers State to replace the governor until maybe 2027. So if the history of Rivers State is written, his name will be written there, what he did and what led to his suspension.
Okay.
So the load is on his head. How he carries it, whether he wants to share it with people, whether he wants to put it on his shoulder, or he wants to lift it with his finger, or he wants to place it on his forehead, the ball is in his court.
All right,
but
Mr. Nelson.
For 2027 is not something you can decide now. You know that even we have this saying that 24 hours is a long time in politics, not to talk when we have almost about a year plus to election.
Well, it feels like it's the regular citizens like you and I that talk about 24 hours in politics, because one would have thought that it's just midterm for this administration, but there's been a lot of signing and transfers happening within political parties, defections here and there, and this might not just be the end to it. We've seen or heard people say that these defections, there are defections, and there might even be a reason for re-defections. But either ways, let's go for a break. Please stay with us, Mr. Nelson. We'll return back to talk about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, the criticism faced by oppositions and some citizens, and how you will react to it. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with the People's Voice. We've been talking to Mr. Nelson Ekujeme, speaking about the reality on ground in Rivers State and emphasis on the suspended governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, who has been seen singing praises of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, appreciating his intervention in the reconciliation happening within the political landscape in Rivers State, which some have criticized and some are saying it is the way to go. But let's talk about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, which has faced various criticism during its 2-year milestone as it celebrates the second year in office. Mr. Nelson, I'd like you to be on standby as I would be reading out some of the criticism that has been raised, and I'd like to get your reactions to this. Some of this latest criticism, apart from those that have come from opposition, which some have said, yes, Nigerians are going through a lot, but we would speak for ourselves. These politicians cannot be trusted. So let's talk about the people now. Some people have raised concern about economic hardship. Critics argue that the administration's economic policies have worsened the country's economic situation, leading to increased poverty and hardship for Nigerians. Yes, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar described the government as incompetent, disconnected, and anti-people, terming it in one word as a failed one. But on the part of the people, it's more about the right to gain access to survival. That's the word, because a lot of Nigerians are at the point where it's just survival. Yes, economists have argued, talk about global economic crisis, talk about post-COVID issues around the world. But can it really get better for Nigerians?
Well, thank you very much. The 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration has been a mixed bag. It has been 2 years of bold eyes on the future. The economic hardship is hard. Yes, I agree absolutely. But how did we get here? We got here because we frittered away our yesterday. This is a country that has lived on fuel subsidy for over 3 decades. And when this administration came into office and told us, just like the other two leading presidential candidates, Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, said when they were asked, they told us that fuel subsidy was going to go. And the debate about fuel subsidy termination was an overflowed issue. People claimed fuel subsidy is a fraud. They called it all sorts of names. And the facts on the table is that annually, every year we were spending $10 billion on fuel subsidy. According to statistics, we're spending a minimum of 1 trillion naira every month on subsidy. 1 trillion naira every month on subsidy.
Yeah.
And when we go, hello?
Yeah, I'm with you. I was trying to agree with the fact that those monies.
You also recognize or remember that because of COVID-19, which affected the previous administration, which affected global economy, not only the previous administration, the government had to go out borrowing in order to be able to fulfill democratic dividends to the people. And we can see the infrastructure renewal under former President Muhammadu Buhari. You talk about the second Niger bridge, you talk about the revitalization of our railway system, you talk about the Lagos-Ibadan expressway, you talk about the construction of new airport terminals. You can name it.
Okay, Mr. Nelson, you've mentioned these infrastructures which Nigerians can also see. But do you agree with the former vice president that described the government as disconnected and anti-people? Because if we have been able to save so much money, when will it get to the common man? When would we start seeing the benefit that subsidy was removed? If so much monies are given to the governors, if so much monies are released to the state, who are the people supposed to hold accountable for their well-being?
You see, my sister, more money that has been saved from fuel subsidy termination by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has been distributed between the 3 tiers of government. As we are examining or assessing 2 years of Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, we should be examining 2 years of every state government, every government that has been in office for 2 years or more than. And we should be examining the local governments, because this subsidy savings is not only domiciled in the federal coffers, it's shared between the 3 states. Let me also tell you, In 2018, when President Muhammadu Buhari was signing the new national minimum wage of 30,000, you remember, from 18,000.
Right.
The Nigerian Governors Forum rejected it. They said they couldn't pay.
True.
Until President Buhari left office in 2023, over 18 states could not pay 30,000 minimum wage. Some states were, as at 2024, some states were paying 15,000, some were still paying 12,000. But when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into office, with the savings from fuel subsidy regime that has been abrogated, the government said they were going to pay 70,000 minimum wage, and the government signed it into law. Though the governors initially resisted, asking for 60 or 65,000. But as we speak today, no state government is paying less than 70,000. So when you are asking about the fuel subsidy savings, as we are asking the federal government,
we should ask the states.
Allocation that has gone to the states, don't we have a responsibility to also ask, because, for example, we don't also have a responsibility to also ask them, because, for example, you recollect immediately after the fuel subsidy termination by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the National Economic Council distributed 5 billion naira to each state with truckloads of rice and some other, foodstuffs.
Yeah, which many people still said that was not the way to go, because I don't think that personally I cannot mention the people that received that, and I'm not sure you can count 5,000 people directly.
Just hold on, my sister. My sister, the question and the answer I want us to provide is that those goods, the federal government gave it to the state because the state is closer, the state and the local government is closer to
the people, yes.
Except for Lagos here, where I'm domiciled, that I can attest to you, I was part of those who witnessed, just a minute, I was part of those with local government chairmen, with the community development councils, as well as the community development associations, the CDCs and CDAs, who witnessed the handover of the foodstuffs to the local government, to the CDC, CDA. How many other states can we did the needful with what they want?
Okay, so let me agree with you. Let me agree with you that we need to ask state governments questions too, but still on the presidency. Some have talked about authoritarianism. Human rights activist Awal Musa Rafsanjani has accused this administration of suppressing dissent, compromising the judiciary, and tolerating corruption in the security sector. He also criticized the government's preoccupation with the 2027 elections, saying that governance has taken a backseat. I'd like to know if you agree with him, because it is glaring that it's more about 2027 for the political class right now. And I want you to answer this side by side with the concerns around insecurity, where security experts like Dr. Muhammad Sani has warned that the security situation could spiral back to pre-2015 levels if not urgently addressed. He criticized Tinubu's handling of diplomatic relations with Niger Republic, particularly the fallout with the multinational Joint Task Force, MNJTF. I mean, these are two very important concerns raised: authoritarianism and insecurity. How do you respond to this?
Yes, I don't know where Rafsanjani got his figures from, or his data that made to accuse the government of authoritarianism. You and I know very well that we are a country governed by laws. And when people in the exercise of their rights violate the laws, you won't say because you have a fundamental human right that your fundamental human right gives you the right to slander or libel my person. I have a right under the law, to challenge that your right. Because under the law of Nigeria, just like in anywhere in the world, no right is absolute. Where my right ends is where yours begins.
True.
But we have lived so long in an atmosphere where people believe they are lord of the manor wherever they are. Where people believe because they have a fundamental right to associate or freedom of expression, that you can just do whatever you like. No, I disagree.
Okay.
Every right, every duty comes with a responsibility. So the responsibility is on you to recognize that in exercising your rights, you must be conscious so that you don't trample on other people's rights, or else we will be in an obedient state of nature. Then talking about the man who talked about security challenges. Yes, security challenges is an everyday thing. I agree that the security situation now is troubling. But I don't agree that it will return to pre-2015, where Boko Haram controlled about 23 local governments in Nigeria. Absolutely not.
But we see governors coming out to cry, saying that their territories are being lost to insurgency. We've seen.
Just a minute. Let me put the line of question.
Okay.
Just a minute. The quarrel with Niger Republic, Nigeria does not have any individual, crisis with Niger Republic. Nigeria is a member of ECOWAS. ECOWAS is the one that made a resolution that all ECOWAS countries for which Nigeria and Niger are signatories must be governed democratically. And when Niger had a military coup, the ECOWAS stepped in and said, no, we won't allow this. And then again, he said, no, they are not going to return to democratic governance. So it is not a Nigerian thing. So people must be very clear about we don't have problem with the multinational JTF. Nigeria is not the country that told Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso to go and form another bloc. ECOWAS is made up of 16 West African countries, and 3 countries have pulled out because ECOWAS say you must return to constitutional democracy, and they are saying no. And ECOWAS is saying we won't accept it, and they have pulled out. But even after pulling out, there are protocols, there are processes within ECOWAS that ECOWAS also recognize that they will continue to engage with these renegades, with these military despots, even though the man in the Niger Republic has transformed into the head of a transitional committee to rule this country for 5 years and now transit into a democratic rule.
Okay, Mr. Nelson.
By the military
we are pressed for time. We are pressed for time. In 30 seconds, please.
Okay. Well, the 2 years of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, like I said earlier on, is a mixed bag. The government has recorded successes and it has recorded setbacks. One only hopes that where it has recorded successes, it will look ways of improving on it such that things will continue to get better. And where it has recorded shortfalls or setbacks, it will work to block those loopholes to advance area of forest. I once again I congratulate Nigerians on the 2nd anniversary of this Nigerian administration.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We accept the congratulatory message. But finally, in about 20 seconds, I need you to react to the fact that some have said that there is youth betrayal. Human rights lawyer Sir Ifeanyi Ejiofor condemned the administration for betraying Nigerian youth, saying that their energies are being diverted from building the nation to protecting the corrupt and saboteurs of national projects. A lot of people have questions and, they have reservations about the constant defections of the same political class changing bottles. We call them same wine in different bottles. And for people, this is betrayal to the youth who actually look forward to the government. How do you respond to that?
Well, my response to the youth is that the youth must be up and doing. They should be diligent. They should keep their eyes on the ball. They should not allow distractions, to sway them to doing the wrong things. When you talk about the youth, we have a lot of energetic, vibrant, positive, progressive, patriotic youth, and we have those who are on the other side of the divide. So for me, I was once a youth. If you are looking at the youth bracket between the age of 15 and 30 or 35, because I'm past that age, and even when I graduated from the university, I never got employment. I got to train myself to get myself employed, personally, and that on that I have lived from
All
since
right.
I graduated from the university in 1993.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nelson. That's all we can take.
Government does not provide jobs anyway.
Thank you very
They
much.
provide the enabling environment.
All right, thank you very much for sharing your valuable insights with us today. Thank you so much. That's the much we can take from your reactions to the conversations on ground. And to our viewers, we say thank you for staying with the People's Voice. As we conclude this discussion on Governor Fubara's midterm assessment speech and the future of Rivers State, it's clear that the path forward will require continued efforts toward peace, reconciliation, and good governance. And on the part of the presidential midterm scorecard, Nigerians hope for more, and we will get more. Until next time, stay engaged, stay informed, and let's keep the dialogue going. My name is Adefunke Jayesimi, and I strongly believe in this project Nigeria. Nigeria would be great again. Good afternoon and have a great weekend.